My neighbor tried to sue me over 2 inches of grass, but he ended up losing half his garage. My neighbor, Mr. Henderson, is the kind of man who measures his grass with a ruler. He's lived in the suburbs for 40 years and thinks that gives him the right to act like the local sheriff. The trouble started when I decided to build a simple garden shed in my backyard. I'd checked the codes, got the permits, and spent my Saturday digging the foundation. But by Sunday morning, I had a cease and desist letter taped to my front door. Henderson was standing on his porch, arms crossed, smirking. He claimed my shed was an eyesore and, more importantly, that it was 2 inches over his property line. I tried to be reasonable. I told him I'd had a surveyor out, and I was well within my rights. He didn't care. He told me, "I've lived here since before you were born, kid. I know where the line is. Move it, or I'll have the city tear it down and bill you for the privilege." I decided to play it cool. I didn't argue. Instead, I hired a second, even more high-end surveying crew to do a deep title search of the land. I spent 2 weeks in silence while Henderson watched me from his window, probably thinking he'd won. The surveyors arrived on a Tuesday. They spent 6 hours with lasers, GPS kits, and old city maps. When the lead surveyor walked up to my porch, he wasn't looking at my shed. He was looking at Henderson's driveway. He handed me the clipboard and pointed. "Sir, you aren't over his line, but he's very much over yours." It turns out, when Henderson built his massive, 3-car garage and paved his decorative stone driveway 20 years ago, he didn't check the maps. He just assumed. His entire driveway and half of his garage were sitting 4 feet onto my property. I waited until Saturday morning when Henderson was out washing his car. I walked over with a bright can of orange spray paint. He laughed as I approached. "Giving up? Painting the shed a better color?" "Not exactly," I said. I started walking. I sprayed a long, bright orange line right down the middle of his driveway, stopping only when the nozzle hit the side of his expensive brick garage. He went purple. "What do you think you're doing?" "That's vandalism. I'm calling the cops." "Go ahead," I said, handing him the new survey results. "The city records are very clear. Everything on this side of the orange line belongs to me. And since you were so worried about eyesores and property lines, I've decided to take your advice. I'm putting up a fence. A 6-foot, solid wood, privacy fence." The cops arrived, but after looking at the paperwork, they told Henderson there was nothing they could do. It was a civil matter, and the land was mine. The video ends with me sitting in a lawn chair on my side of the orange line, sipping a cold drink. I watched him have to park his car on the street because he couldn't fit it past the fence I was building right through his old driveway. I looked at him, raised my glass, and said, "I've only lived here a few years, Henderson, but I think I'm going to like the view."